Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, the owner of Japanese cryptocurrency exchange Coincheck has announced it will award Bitcoin to its shareholders in a new shakeup. In a statement on the 24th of September, online broker Monex Group said it would give 500 yen in Bitcoin to anyone who owns more than 100 shares and has a Coincheck account. The move seeks to complement a previous incentive scheme under which shareholders receive so-called Monex points, which was a redeemable bonus system. They said, and I do quote, "The company has hitherto offered Monex points as a shareholder benefit to those shareholders who hold the company's shares," a lot of shares there, "under custody and brokerage accounts of Monex Inc., the company's subsidiary," end quote. Or rather, it continues by saying, "Responding to increasing aspiration for building assets in cryptocurrencies, the company has decided to grant 500 yen equivalent cryptocurrency BTC to those shareholders who hold Coincheck accounts, which are operated by the company's subsidiary Coincheck Inc., end quote. The Bitcoin giveaway may only apply to the 2019 financial year. It means those shareholders with a Coincheck account must open one up before the financial year is up by the 31st of March 2020. This is very fascinating to me for a number of reasons. If it sounds familiar, it's because it is. Not because we have heard from the Japanese Monex Group people talking about this. The last 3 weeks, a number of companies, about 6 or 7 of them, have come out almost every other day talking about that they're now going to be paying dividends in cryptocurrencies. The other really interesting part that I think also ties slightly directly into this, what's the name of that website? No, but the one you could... Oh, gosh. The one where the CEO just left is a very big company. They were trying to... that's a shame. I can't remember the name of it. They were trying to be like Amazon and all this other stuff. And then the CEO said that he wanted to exclusively focus on cryptocurrencies. And I think he also just recently left. But they also had just said that they were going to be paying out dividends to their shareholders in their cryptocurrency. Overstock. There we go. Got it. That they were going to be paying dividends to their shareholders in like overstock tokens or something like that. And I think that didn't really catch on because nobody wants an overstock token, just being honest. So now what we're seeing as well, I think the last 8-9 days or something like that, we've had at least 3 other companies who've come forward and said that they're going to be offering dividends either, I think, in Bitcoin. I think one said XRP, and I think maybe one mentioned Ethereum. I don't remember, but it's normally all in Bitcoin. The fascinating or weird part about this is that there's a hyper finite amount of Bitcoin. So how much Bitcoin do these companies also have to hold to be able to have the possibility of paying out dividends to their shareholders in Bitcoins? Regardless if it's a fragment of a Bitcoin and not an entire Bitcoin, they're not the only company who's also doing this. So that's kind of where it gets into this really weird, how many other companies around the world are also buying up Bitcoin for the sole purpose of giving out dividends to shareholders. That's not even them buying it because they think the price is going to go up dramatically. That's not them trying to fill their own coffers or to make sure that they have their own huge supply of Bitcoin. It's like these little other really weird things, especially when we were also having the discussion before, talking really fast. When we were having the discussion before about a lot of companies like pension funds and like retirement funds who were also buying up cryptocurrency, and one can only assume Bitcoin as well, to be able to have these for their retirement accounts. And it's like, usually when we think about cryptocurrency or the cryptocurrency space of people who are acquiring Bitcoin, is that we think they're similar to us. They're buying it up because they're waiting for the price to go up so they can maybe one day buy things in sometime in the near future. But I think we underestimate the amount of people and companies who are also buying it up for retirees, for dividends, for this, for that. The list, I assume, goes on forever. What I find interesting, there was an old trend many years ago. For those who are not looking at the screen, it says a Japanese company will pay part of worker salaries in Bitcoin. This article says what it's actually like to get paid exclusively in Bitcoins. This is from 2013. There was a very big trend a couple of years ago, and it definitely was even before 2017. 2017 was kind of like the very end of the boat for that entire discussion of getting paid in Bitcoin. I think because of all the regulatory issues that started to pop up. But the trend that we see now of companies paying their shareholders dividends in Bitcoin. The thing long ago was that we assumed by now everyone, not every, a large amount of people around the world would be getting paid exclusively in Bitcoin. I think a lot of that, I don't think it flopped. There are definitely a lot of people who still do get paid exclusively in Bitcoin. There are a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space who get paid in Bitcoin. They only pay people in Bitcoin, and they also only go to restaurants, bars, cafes, book flights, everything exclusively with Bitcoin. But I think the tipping point for this will be when Bitcoin does become expensive enough that you don't have to worry about, like, you can pay your employees in like hyper fragments of Bitcoin. Anyway, not to spend too much time on this, I find it very fascinating because we normally only focus on like whales or like the Winklevi or like this person or the New York Stock Exchange as far as like who's accumulating what and how much they're accumulating. We also, and even sometimes we tend to normally, historically, focus on like the North American accumulation of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and we completely forget that there are other companies in other places who are probably also buying up. They could even just be buying up 5 Bitcoin a month, but if there are hundreds of companies who are doing this, then the supply dries up very, very quick. Anyway, let's move on. This is going to be like an adoption video, just throwing that out there. The sportswear company Decathlon and beauty store Sephora, or Sephora as they say in France, which drives me insane, in France will be accepting Bitcoin payments as soon as the next year. There will be 28 different retailers that will make Bitcoin payments available at 25,000 sale points in the country. The information was released by Le Figaro on the 24th of September. Although Bitcoin's price fell to 9,500 in the last few hours, this article was clearly written before the big plunge. Cryptocurrency adoption continues to expand around the world. France is going to be home to over 25,000 stores that will accept Bitcoin payments for products. The point of sale technology provider Global POS, Easy Wallet, and Easy to Play joined forces in order for this to happen. Users will have the possibility to pay using Bitcoin while the seller will receive the funds in euros. The funds will be automatically converted in order to avoid price fluctuations. I think there was another important part around here. Nope, maybe it's this part. This is an important symbolic step in the evolution of payment methods in France. Nevertheless, more than a symbol, what we bring to 25,000 outlets is the ability to safely enter the world of the economy 3.0. This was something, maybe it's come, I think something else is coming up because I could have sworn that there was another piece of information. Anyway, the point being, France has thus far been very decentralized crypto friendly, which I think is a very weird take on the entire matter, especially if you had told someone a couple of years ago that they would have been, I want to use the word agnostic, relatively to decentralized cryptocurrencies, maybe because they've realized that they can't get a complete control over them. On the other hand, they don't like they don't like coins or tokens such as Libra or many other things, as they potentially see them as a threat. It's nice to see that this is kind of, this adoption, if you will, is rapidly increasing. I still remain incredibly skeptical on the idea that people are actually going to be using their Bitcoin en masse. Once again, there are an enormous amount of people who do use Bitcoin, who live off of Bitcoin and receive Bitcoin, and so on, they send Bitcoin around. But I feel like, and I have felt for a very long time, I have to yawn and I'm holding it in, like I just woke up. I was listening to something before and they were discussing the future of payments in Bitcoin. And one of the people on the show, the analyst or the smart person on that show that day, he said, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And they were outraged. How do you not think that Bitcoin is going to be accepted everywhere? They said, no. Bitcoin's definitely going to be accepted everywhere. It's just incredibly unlikely that anyone's going to be using it. If Bitcoin goes from where it is today to 50,000 by the end of the year, and even has a major pullback, that 50,000 is still going to be in the minds of a lot of people around the world. If Bitcoin goes from 35,000 to 100,000, and everyone's like, yeah, we accept Bitcoin, spend your Bitcoin here, people are going to go, well, it hit 100,000 last time. Maybe it can maybe can hit 250,000. I don't want to really part with my Bitcoin right now. And that's kind of the entire mindset that Bitcoin, in my eyes and in many other eyes as well, that Bitcoin has to get to such a high value that people stop thinking that it's going to go any higher, or that people simply say, well, I can't hold on anymore. I have a Bitcoin. It's worth 25 million. Let it ride. I can get everything that I need from this. Anyway, kind of cool. These are, especially the Catalan, this is a major brand in France. Sephora as well, for those of you who've never walked around Paris. It's kind of all over the place. Anyway, it's also in the States as well, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen this. Anyway, the point being, there are new stores around the world that are going to be accepting Bitcoin. And just to keep something in mind, and I say it this way, to be nice and friendly, just to let everybody understand. Once again, these are extra stores around the world who are accepting Bitcoin. They're not accepting Bcash. They're not accepting BSV or Bitcoin Gold or Bitcoin Diamond. Hope you understand what I'm trying to get to. Once again, adoption usually is heavily sided on within the top 3 coins, if not usually exclusively just within the top 1 coin. Anyway, let's move on. In the news that should be completely unsurprising to every single person on this planet, Venezuela's central bank is exploring the possibilities of holding Bitcoin and Ether in its coffers, according to an anonymous source who reportedly have direct insights into the matter. According to a 26th of September Bloomberg article, the Central Bank of Venezuela is taking a closer look at whether they have the possibility to store cryptocurrencies. It's a computer. I'm pretty sure they can find about 5 people who know how a computer works, and they can buy some Nano ledgers or something like that. Like it's anyway. The state-run oil and gas company Petróleos de Venezuela S.A. (PSDV) had requested the central bank look into the matter after the oil producer ran into difficulties receiving payments from international clients due to U.S. sanctions against Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. Oh, really interesting part. I should also have this tab open. A couple of months ago, we also had news, and I'm pretty sure they may have even mentioned it in this article right here. A couple of months ago, rather a year and some change ago, going back a little bit, the Venezuelan government created their own cryptocurrency, their own coin, called the Petro. No one's using it. Nobody wants to use it. So the government started forcing people within the country to actually use it. I think you have to use it if you want to get a passport. I think certain airports, you also need to use the actual token, so on and so forth. About 9 months ago, maybe somewhere around that time frame, the government of Venezuela announced that if you wanted to send remittances within the country, that is to say, if you wanted to send money from outside of its borders into its borders, the only things legally that you could do were the Venezuelan paper money, can't remember the name of it right now, the Petro, the digital coin, and Bitcoin and Ethereum. There were only 4 legal ways to get money into that country, and 2 of them were Bitcoin and Ether. Right. And I remember also expressing my annoyance with the market, that the market hadn't extremely just skyrocketed, because the entire idea has been for a very long time that Bitcoin would eventually be adopted by countries who are not doing well economically. And then we had the news from before that Venezuela had been going through 1,000,000% hyperinflation. And then about a couple days later, they're like, yeah, if you want to send money, Bitcoin and Ether. And I was like, the price should have gone completely insane, because this was the validation that we were waiting for from a struggling country, that they were going to be using cryptocurrencies. The unnamed sources, as they always are, said that the PSDV is looking to transfer Bitcoin and Ether to the Venezuelan central bank, and then have the central institution pay its suppliers in cryptocurrencies in the hope of overcoming its isolation from the global financial system. The Venezuelan central bank is reportedly studying proposals that would see cryptocurrencies counted towards the country's internal revenues, which currently sit at a 30-year low of $7.9 billion. That is, as a country, there are people walking on this planet who are worth more than that country. Just to put that into perspective. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this is happening. Here's the actual article right here. I always feel like that when we get news, especially upper level news about a country who's potentially buying into or thinking of storing cryptocurrencies. Even this article right here, that's even crazier. This article actually says Venezuela has Bitcoin stash and doesn't know what to do with it. I'm fairly certain they already have one. Test, for people knowledge, okay. PDVSA, the people we were just talking about, may be hesitant to sell cryptocurrencies on the open market because it would require the company to register with an exchange and subject itself to due diligence. Instead, it wants the central bank, which officials at the oil company believe is less exposed to potential blocks, to use the crypto to pay entities PDVSA owes money to. It isn't clear how the PDVSA came to own Bitcoin and Ethereum. I have an idea how, but the oil producer has struggled to get paid by customers via conventional channels because major banks are hesitant to do business with a sanctioned entity. That is, when you want to talk about that we live in the future and now we have people who are going to be paying each other through, they're paying people through stuff that we can't touch. It's digital. It's on a computer. You can't touch code. Isn't that completely insane to even think about? Anyway, I'm fairly certain they already have this cryptocurrency. I'm fairly certain that the news that we're getting is that maybe they're trying to reach out to other countries to be like, hey, we're still over here. We still exist. Can we, buy some stuff from you? And this has to be, okay. I think a large part of this has to do with any type of backlash. I'm pretty certain that they've reached out to other countries saying, hey, you want to help us? And they've said no. The USA said we have to go home and we can't play after dark. That's all I can, as far as my brain can go with that. I'm fairly certain they're definitely doing this with a couple of other countries. And I'll even put it to you this way. If we've had news about 16,500 times, and even the conferences, don't forget those, that North Korea has been buying up or taking cryptocurrency, one can only assume that Venezuela definitely has Bitcoin and tons of Ether, just throwing that out there, especially if economists around the world have also been advising their clients to actually put 1%, if not more, of their funds into cryptocurrencies. One can only assume that governments have at least been sloshing money around to put into this. And also, never ever forget, friends, the news that we had last year about that guy who actually worked in the Kremlin in Russia, who was like, yeah, we're definitely buying Bitcoin. And people were like, no, that's a lie. You're lying. And I was like, why would I lie? I have no reason to lie about what somebody in Russia said that they're doing. The governments are probably accumulating. I don't know how much. I wish I knew how much. If I knew how much, that'd be great if I could spread that knowledge around. I'm sure it's happening. I think a lot of countries definitely are maybe not on it yet. I think a lot of them probably are maybe still hesitant, but it's definitely happening behind the scenes. And I think the weirdest part of all of this would be if some of the most sanctioned countries, that's a nice way of saying it, ended up having the largest amounts of Bitcoin in the future because they were buying while they were on crutches, realized the opportunity, and other richer countries around the world were simply like, we don't need it. We don't so and so. There was an article, and I refused to even read through the entire thing. Who was it? It was some major economic head, like about a day or two ago, who said it's absolutely ridiculous to even think of the possibility of digitizing the US dollar because the US dollar is the strongest currency in the entire world. And I sat there and I was like, tell me that in 10 years. Like, tell me, like, please, I want to see Bitcoin go over $1 million. And you sit there and still go, there's no need to digitize the US dollar. Anyway, I want this information. I want to know exactly what's going on. We always have to wait. That's just part of life, as it were. Anyway, Venezuela apparently, so saith the Bloomberg, has a large amount of Bitcoin. I'm going to start adding these numbers up one day. I need to do this for my peace of mind, just to know exactly who has how much. Because I don't personally believe that there's over 1 million Bitcoin actually floating around on all the different exchanges around the world. I don't think so. Anyway, let us move on. Next up, the International Monetary Fund has kept close tabs on various cryptocurrencies for some time now. Numerous warnings regarding Bitcoin and altcoins have been issued in recent years. In a surprising turn of events, the organization now focuses its attention on stablecoins. These digital assets gain a lot of popularity, yet the International Monetary Fund is concerned they will pose risks. Quite similar to the likes of Bitcoin, criminals will always find a way to exploit any industry, and stablecoins will be no different. In virtually all cases, a stablecoin will represent a digital version of the fiat currency it is linked to. This form of digitization can't come soon enough as our society focuses on digital goods and services more than ever before. This actually goes on for quite a long amount of time. I'm not going to read the entire thing. The International Monetary Fund believes and pay attention to this shift. What I was just talking about with France as well. 2017 and 2018 were very battering years for the Bitcoin space, not even the other coins. Everyone kept on saying that either Bitcoin was garbage, Bitcoin was so-and-so, and so Bitcoin was posing a risk, Bitcoin was going to do this, Bitcoin was too volatile. It was always an attack against Bitcoin. And now we're seeing governments, they never even mention Bitcoin anymore. They mention stable coins, typically just Libra, because they realize that these things are, in some sort of way, digital currencies have begun to pose a risk to the actual stability of what the current financial system has, because at their heart, stablecoins are pegged to fiat currencies, normally on a one-to-one peg. What happens when this company, that company, my company, your company, start creating stablecoins, and these stablecoins become very popular, and people online start making payments in these stablecoins, start trading in these stablecoins? You want to send money to your friend? Use this coin, use that coin, use the Telegram coin, use the Facebook coin. And the things that aren't being used are the dollar or the euro or the yen, because everything else is falling outside of their jurisdiction. And this is why I think we've also seen an increased amount of interest in stablecoins, not only from banks, but also from larger institutions, either talking about adopting them or creating their own, because always it comes down to money. And you have to make sure that your money looks shinier than someone else's money. Because if Facebook makes their own shiny money, and I make my own shiny money, and everybody else is just using my own little shiny coins, and no one's really making payments in US dollars anymore, or anything that's denominated, it's very interesting. This is the same exact thing that we had, what was the news a couple days ago from China? They were talking, when we were talking about the actual date for release of China coin. Can't remember, I have no idea what they're going to call that coin. And they were talking about the companies who are going to be able to actually hold those coins. It was Alipay, it was so-and-so, it was blah, 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 but they're also very big companies around the world as well. So they may have, a 500 million users in China who are using these apps, but around the world even more so, they have hundreds of millions of extra people. And they were talking about the actual possibility that the Chinese government was also trying to get people around the world to find a way to even use their stable coin, their currency, the China bank coin, over actual US dollars as a more convenient way to make payments. So this is why, nothing is ever by chance anymore. Like, I used to believe years ago, especially when I started doing the channel, I was like, wow, the coincidence, it's so crazy that they're talking about that. Everything comes down to the fact that nobody's trying to lose power, and everyone's trying to figure out a way to obtain power. And even smaller companies have realized, like a couple of years ago, Coinbase was nothing. Nobody spoke about Coinbase. I think Coinbase opened up when Bitcoin was around $9 or $10. Think of how far they've come. Think of how far Binance opened in 2017. Look how large Binance is. Look how popular Binance coin is. Look how big, I'm pretty sure, the Binance coin is going to become. Gust, the Gemini dollar, all these things are becoming very large in the cryptocurrency space. And people around the world, when they're trading cryptocurrencies, are exclusively using these coins because there isn't a digitized US dollar by the US government. There isn't a so-and-so and so. And the longer that we don't have them in our system, because governments and countries are so concerned with not digitizing and trying to stay as things were 300,000 years ago, cryptocurrencies continue to make their mark and move further ahead than any fiat currency currently is. This is why, it just makes so much more sense. Instead of figuring out a way to digitize yourself or figure out the risks associated with this and simply go, you know what? Let's create our own stablecoin as a country. Let's only maybe denominate 15 billion. I mean, to be fair, Tether has what is like 3 billion Tether. So 15 billion for a country isn't an enormous amount. And have this be pushed out by Coinbase and by Gemini and by so-and-so. I wonder always what the mindset is behind this lack of advancing forward. It's always a, let's do things only when we're forced to. Why was it that every single country didn't consider cryptocurrencies or any other stablecoin a threat until Facebook was like, yeah, we have 2.4 billion users and we're going to be the largest bank in the world. Like, that scared them. Like, why didn't you think of this a couple of years ago? Why didn't you see as a precursor, wow, that looks really scary. Maybe we should potentially do that as well. Or even have just something on the side. Like, why don't governments ever prepare? Why do they only react when things have hit the fan, things look terrible, and then they're like, okay, now we have to do this. Okay, this bank is now joining this. Okay, let's make our own blockchain. Yeah, blockchain. And it's like, you didn't think a couple of years ago that you should possibly, maybe, logically to start getting into this as well. Anyway, I'm running out of breath and patience, as it were. I'm certain in a couple of years, regardless of what that man said, I don't even remember his name, the one who was like, we're not going to digitize the US dollar. I think he said ever. Okay. We'll see exactly how that turns out in the next couple of years, but I don't know if it's like, what's the word? I draw a certain amount of joy from news articles like this. Like, I may not care for stablecoins on just about no level, but the idea that governments continue to lag or slow down, or that they see stuff happening and they have 3 years of discussions as opposed to actually doing something, it only makes it better for the cryptocurrency space. Like Bitcoin going unhindered, I mean, they can't really hinder it for the next 3 years plus, which is the time I assume that we'll start getting news about the digitization of the euro, the US dollar, and I assume the yen. Bitcoin will be over $150,000 by that point, and it'll be kind of like a, oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, you digitized? Oh, well, okay. Well, me and my friends, we've actually been using Bloopadoop coin for the last couple of months, and we've all accumulated tons of Bitcoin. So we don't even really care about your little digitized, and whatever. I'm thinking too far ahead. The point being, back to the road. The International Monetary Fund has written on their blog about the rise of stablecoins, which should be quite indicative of where the future is heading. To kind of finish things off, cryptocurrencies coming to the Mall of America. That sounds a lot better. Flexa, a startup making it easier to use crypto for purchases in the real world, will be an advisory participant in a new demonstration store at America's largest mall, which is located outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. The store, meant to showcase new brands and technologies for enhancing the retail experience, is organized by management consulting firm McKinsey. They said, the big thing for us is showing that cryptocurrency is an extremely legitimate, if not the best form of digital payment. This was said by Flexa CEO. Of course he's going to say that. Imagine if he was like, yeah, cryptocurrencies are not that great. They're really slow and nobody should use them. Of course he's going to talk about the benefits of using them. He said, and I do quote, "This is going to show the legitimacy of how this stuff works." What a great quote. The store, called Modern Retail Collective, will test out retail technology under real conditions, obviously. Stating Friday morning, the goal will be to help retailers understand which new technologies really add value, with some 8,000 U.S. brick and mortar stores closing this year alone, according to a press release from McKinsey. The question of generating value has taken on a new sense of urgency. Sure. The takeaway from this is, like I said, this is going to be an adoption video. This is from the Gemini twins. The Flexa payment app known as Spedin, which is spend, spelled incorrectly, which annoys me, apparently is trying to make their way through America. I think, and listen, I'm fairly certain not a large amount of people around the world are going to be using probably not the top 5, if not the top 10 coins to be making daily purchases anytime soon. However, on the back end, I could definitely see them trying to run cryptocurrencies through the actual payment methods of other systems, or even more so, Don't be shocked if in a couple of years, the same way that we have Apple Pay and Alipay and Amazon Pay, is that what it's called? And so Pay and Tap Your Phone Pay. If these companies start integrating cryptocurrency so that once again in the back end, you may be paying or tapping your phone in US dollars or euros, but Bitcoin is being transacted in the background, or even like a type of thing where stablecoins are going to be the standard for making digital payments, because I just don't really see it happening. That's kind of just how I feel about the situation. Anyway, in either regard, it is wonderful to see that a number of stores around the world are starting to accept cryptocurrencies. What was that other, was it in Slovenia? The crypto exclusive mall or something like that. If anyone lives in Slovenia, I think it was Slovenia. Have you been there? Was it cool? Was it nice? I like hearing about these things, but we typically don't hear about them again, if that makes any sense. I think they're trying to find, my opinion, many new use cases for cryptocurrencies. But I think a lot of what's going to happen is just going to be back-end payments or people accumulating cryptocurrencies as their own asset class, which they pretty much kind of are right now. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Let's move on. As always, I'm so hungry. A very special thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from, it's like growling, Professor Wally from Gunbot University. Adam Graysick, Mohair Maroney, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Woody and Daisy, Triple M and J, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Mill Wheezy, JR, Mechanic, Strange Radio Central, Crypto Artist, Cole D3D, Cryptopolis, Nicholas, Run Earth, One Peace, One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick, Kanaya, Richie Rich, The Third, Vlad the Impaler, Krypton Beer Shipmate, Paxis, Nick, Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Chest Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. And yes, to Crypto, thank you all very, very much for your support. At the moment, some of the only things in green are the stablecoins, and even then, barely so. Bitcoin is currently, depending on where you look, I think even over here, Bitcoin was at 7,999. Here it says 8,085. So there's a bit of a difference if you want to look at it optimistically this way. The market's still in red. I assume we will probably experience another dip moving into the weekend. Who knows? That is the most important part of everything. Yep, the entire market's in red, except for USD coin, stablecoin, so it's going up because people are buying into it. Paxos is also stablecoin. True USD is also stablecoin, so it's in green. Rest of the market is in Ravencoin. Hey, I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I need to eat something, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.